Hey guys, EDDBUD here. I'm back with a half marathon training update video for you. Hello there! If you've recently subscribed, I know there's been a number of you. We seem to have had a big jolt in subscribers, a big influx, and I want to say thank you. I want to say salutations. I want to say that I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you hit that button down in the bottom right here. You can hit the bell for notifications. That was a good thing to do as well. It's a good thing. Fine Young Cannibals, yeah, that was it. Good thing. Good thing. Where have you gone? So, last Saturday saw me do a 7-mile run. I was targeting about 7 minutes 30 per mile. I took to some country lanes for this tempo effort using the Hoka Rincons. Been enjoying these. About 400 foot of elevation on that run, and managed to keep the heart rate to an average of 141 beats a minute. It's pretty good. Been making a few adjustments to the wristwatch. Been making a few adjustments to the watch, wearing it a little bit tighter when I go out running than I would do just for casual use. You know, because it's a nice watch to have for casual use. It's not really. It's a terrible watch to have for casual use. If you're in a social environment, it just goes bing, bing, bing all the time from various notifications, but I love you all. The roads are quite narrow at time on that route that I undertook for this run, and there's lots and lots of standing water everywhere from the considerable rainfall that we'd had over the preceding 2 or 3 days. The rainfall seems to seep through the fields that are surrounding it and just kind of drift towards the road. So right along the edges of the road, which is pretty much where I was having to run, there seemed to be loads of traffic there, far more traffic than there normally is, and I was having to kind of tiptoe through. That kind of worked quite well. Tiptoe through lots and lots of standing water throughout the run. I even spotted a flood indicator. They kind of stick these poles in certain places with kind of water height measurement things there to kind of alert you of how much water you're kind of wading through. So clearly water's got a bit of an effect on that area. It's quite flat actually once you've come down the hill. It's just sort of undulating country lanes. No real sharp turns there, and once you're down the first hill, no major hills. So it's quite nice flat country lanes to explore. No slipping on the wet roads in the Rincons, but I certainly wouldn't suggest that these are any good for use in muddy areas. This is a road shoe, certainly. It really doesn't have the traction or enough rubber there in terms of decent traction on anything that resembles mud. Certainly not one for very soft surfaces, I think. Anything where you've got a lot of give, not really going to be ideal for the Rincon. I kept this effort between kind of like a tempo and a moderate pace, around about 7 minutes 30 per mile. The weather had sort of improved, so the rain had stopped, and the temperature was pretty much ideal for me, really. Wore the Nike running coat. There was a little bit of breeze, a little bit of wind in a few places, but absolutely ideal. Those miles just kind of drifted by. I was supposed to hit a long run on the Sunday, but as you well know with life, when you've got responsibilities, when you're an adult person, things happen and sometimes you have to switch things up and change things around. So I hit that 10-mile run on the Monday evening, and it was perishingly cold. So I think it was about 3 degrees by the time I got out there. It really does demonstrate the UK's ability in terms of weather to very quickly change from one day to the next. So with very thin gloves that weren't really up to the challenge, a late start and somewhat weary legs, I managed to clock in at about 7 minutes 47 per mile over those 10 miles. The Rincons were feeling good that day, but oh boy was I cold. I think by about the 7th mile my hands had started to freeze up. I think certainly my 2 smaller fingers on my hand here, they were really cold. I was having to kind of blow into my hands, try and get some warmth in there. I was trying to work them, I was trying to sort of clap, do anything really with my hands to try and get the blood flow going again. It must have looked pretty weird for any kind of passers-by as I was running along, clapping my hands along to Jeff Lynne's ELO and Tom York's Anima album. I had a time for that run of about 1 hour 18. I think it was 7 minutes 47 per mile. I'll do some conversions up on the screen for you guys that like the conversions. After I managed to thaw out, the next day hit it for 3 easy miles, 7 minutes 55 per mile, around about 24 minutes, and much needed. Not even sure what shoes I wore for that. What did I wear? Hold on, viewers. I shall find out using the power of the internet. I was in the Rincons again. So I used the Rincons again for that easy run. They seem to work pretty well for something around about 8 minutes per mile pace for me, up to about 7 minutes 30. Not really sure that they'd work for speed work so far, but I will hold on to those thoughts for my 100-mile review. About 51 miles into those now, so I think within the next couple of weeks we'll get there. The next day it was time for some speed work. A 7-mile session bookended by 1 mile of warm up, 1 mile of warm down. And I hit it for 4 times 1 mile repeats at roughly my 10k pace, which is about 6 minutes 40 per mile. Call me crazy, but I went for the Zoomfly 3s again. Gotta say though, this time it wasn't quite a enjoyable experience as it was the last time. Between those 1 mile reps, I had 400 meters or a quarter mile jog in between, and this was a tough workout no matter how you slice it. So that 1 mile warm up was around about 7 minutes 51. It was chilly again, so it was a warm up mile certainly. And then the reps were 6 minutes 33, 6 minutes 29, 6 minutes 39, and then I exploded and collapsed in a heap at 6 minutes 54. I was completely cooked by the end of that. That 4th mile was an unpleasant experience. Nutrition and fuel that day, earlier in the day, really wasn't high on my agenda, and it really started to have an impact later in the session. The 3rd and 4th reps, I took my foot off the gas a little bit. I really had some pain actually in my right foot, round about this kind of area of the shoe. It was really causing me some issues. Still to this point actually, I've got a little bit of discomfort in my foot. It just really wasn't working out for me using the Zoomfly 3s for that type of speed work. It's still a little raw now, certainly getting better. It's not a major injury of any sorts, but just some real discomfort and pain. It's time for these boys to go back in the box. My furry friend has joined me. Hello, Beast. Good old Beast. We've been buddies for a long time, haven't we, Beast? Is it nice in here? I think it's the warmth of the studio lights. These feel great for me really, going at speed. Those first couple of reps were really great, but they're certainly quite tough in terms of that underfoot feel in the forefoot. So, time to go back in the box. I'd really love to know how people get on with the Zoomfly 3, perhaps at the half marathon distance. You know, sub 7 minutes per mile kind of paces. I'm sure the midsole formula is different, you know, than the Zoomfly Flyknit, the previous iteration. It just does feel really different. That React material I don't think it's the same. There's some really nice comments recently on Strava. Oh yeah, if you don't follow me on Strava, please come over and follow me. I try to follow back as many viewers and new followers as I can. It's a really great place to hang out. And there's lots of great comment. Recently, somebody had purchased the Zoomfly Flyknits on my recommendation. They were really loving them. They were really enjoying them. They are a great shoe. I still stand by my views that the Zoomfly Flyknit is a superior shoe to the Zoomfly 3. So, nursing the pain in the forefoot, the following day I switched out a 8 mile, or was it 7 mile fartlek session for some easier miles. So I hit about 5 miles, around about 8 minutes 20 pace. So I really pulled the pace back, just getting out there in the pouring rain and enjoying some nice slow steady miles. Used the Pegasus 36 shields for that run. I was going to use the beacons, plough a few more miles into them, but when I looked out the window it was pretty serious in terms of the rain, and it was definitely the right choice. There was lots and lots of standing water around through my typical route. At that lower pace, managed to keep the heart rate even lower. I think it was around about 132 beats per minute average. Do you know what? These appear to have expanded a little bit since I first utilised them on those initial runs. I had to utilise my thinner Nike socks. This time round, in the thicker stance socks, these felt fantastic. They felt really good. So I don't know whether the material of the upper's given a little bit. It's expanded very slightly, but they feel a much more comfortable shoe on foot now after 30 odd miles. A much more accommodating fit, much more akin to the typical standard Pegasus 36. There were some really muddy, very sort of saturated areas I ploughed through in these on that run yesterday evening. And of course, night running, it was pitch black by the time I got out. I think it was around about 9 p.m. UK time. There were some real surprises on the ground. Even though I had my Actic Core Petzl headlamp, I couldn't really see where the hell I was going a few times, and I got some nasty surprises and completely saturated feet. So regardless of the water repellent properties here, I still ended up pretty wet. Someone commented that these kind of look like a, you know, like a Lonsdale shoe or something, you know, like a sort of cheaper alternative. I'm not going to become a snob like that. I'm really, really lucky to be able to test all these shoes out for you guys. I really am. I'm never going to put people down that can't perhaps afford, you know, a more expensive shoe or anything. If you're getting out there and you're running, that is fantastic, no matter what you're wearing on your feet. I know we spend lots of time discussing, talking about all these running shoes and everything, but it did strike me, it said, Ed, you need to review some cheaper models. I'm going to be starting to do that very soon. If you're getting out there and you're running, good on you. Fortunately, that soreness seems to have alleviated in my right foot now. Nowhere near as bad as it was, so fortunately, it seems that there's no major damage done. Running slower is something that I need to learn to do. I need to do more of my base miles really at a lower pace and start to increase that mileage up if I want to undertake some races over greater distances. It felt really good actually running in that sort of more recovery or sort of endurance type pace, and still managed to get some miles in, so it made me feel a whole lot better about the situation. Family event this weekend, so I've got to try and get the miles in where I can. There'll be some early miles tomorrow, then possibly something on the Sunday. We'll have to see what we can fit in. You know, life is busy. It's a bit of a roller coaster sometimes. Okay, it's time for Beast and I to sign off. Hope you've enjoyed the video today. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. Please do comment below and let me know how training's going for whatever races that you've entered. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you.